I'm doing a mini session for one of my patrons. If any of you are interested in checking out my Patreon community, you can find me at patreon.com/Abbey Normal's Wisdom Quest. So there aren't any specific goals. I'm going to be going as guided by spirit. I'm going to relax and get tuned in, and then we will see what comes up. Okay. Okay, so the introductory image and experience is I feel kind of pushed against a wall of pins and needles. And they're actually going into my face and they're making it hard for me to see, okay? So they're actually going into my very eyes. But that's okay because there's this concept of it's safe to not be able to see your way. It's safe, but it's almost like pain. There's been a little bit of pain here involved in this effect of creating a sense of blindness, but there is an element of peace to it as well, okay? All right, the next thing is the struggle to detach yourself from the wall that has caused you pain. Everything is in the dark, by the way, okay? And when you try to put your hands against the wall to push the rest of you off of all of these sharp, I mean, they're straight up nails. Like you are literally pushed against a wall of nails. And it's primarily focused on the face, okay? And you're using your hands to push yourself off, but now your hands go into the nails. So this is a problem because you don't know how to detach yourself from this painful wall without creating more pain. So everything about this is about pain, okay? I will say there is still peacefulness. There is an element of peacefulness. So let's continue to follow this through. I ask you, let's simplify this down. You want to be removed from the wall, right? And you don't want any more pain, but yet you have to remove yourself from the wall because that is what you want. So if that is what you want, and the only way to do it is to experience more pain, then you have to acknowledge that pain is the solution. Sometimes it's going to hurt a little bit more to detach from what that was about and then to move into the next thing. And it's okay if there is more pain involved, okay? Because in a way, the pain is then the solution. I want to emphasize, despite the wall, despite the image, despite the suffering here, there is peacefulness. There is comfort. There is more sight than you could imagine. Even if it is all in the dark, you will be gifted with more sight through this process, okay? So you take a deep breath, and as soon as you're able to say it's okay for this to be a painful process, it gives you the strength. And somehow it's not as painful as it would have been if you were to resist it, okay? Let me emphasize, there is peacefulness here. So you remove yourself from this wall and you basically leave a big portion of your face. It remains stuck on the wall. So you look pretty gruesome. You look pretty gruesome. And you kind of say to your guides, is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted? Because that hurt. That was felt. That was almost ridiculous. what that was about just seems very extreme, okay? So yeah, you're expressing frustration and anger, and it feels justified to me. However, you're not acknowledging that you did it. You're acknowledging that you didn't like what you had to go through, but you're not acknowledging that you're done. Let's move on already. So you're still holding on to the wall because it was wrong on so many levels, right? Which means you're still attached to it. Maybe that's why your face is still hanging here. So stop with your attachment to the wall that hurt you, okay? Like, let's acknowledge that the wall is done and let's move on, right? But this seems to be part of the process, okay? So let's just linger here. Emotional. It feels emotional now. Oh, whoa. I don't like how this feels. There's like a tiny little beacon. It's like a squishy gummy bear. It's slightly off to the right-hand side of your third eye. And I can kind of see through it, and it's a yellowish orange color, okay? And this is bothering me right here, okay? Has to do with third eye. There's also crown chakra energy that's really disorienting for me as well. And there's also the experience of literally the eyes having been brutally destroyed and now useless. Okay? The eyes have been basically destroyed. I mean, they're useless eyes. They're mangled and gross looking. You'll never be able to see through them again. Okay? And in a way, because that was so painful, to never be able to see again, but to know that the pain is gone, you could accept blindness. Because as long as the pain is gone, fine. I'll accept blindness. Because that was very painful. We're going to bring this into alignment here, okay? And what's interesting is, again, there is a hidden gift, a hidden blessing. There is an alignment issue between your heart and your third eye and your crown chakra. And you don't need to be able to see to actually be able to see. I mean, I'm standing in the pitch black here and I can see everything I need to see. And you can too. You can stand in the pitch black and see everything you need to see. You do the unexpected. You remove the remnants of your eyeballs, literally with your fingers. You rip them out and you throw them onto the ground, and you have 2 black holes for eyes now. There's a bit of a dark side that's kind of in the face region. And there's an aggressiveness about it. There is a pain and suffering side about it. Anguish side. And it's sort of like the demon within is going to come out. And there will be payback. There will be karma, okay? I mean, that's what you're emanating right now. From the 2 black holes of your eyes and your heart. And you remember the echo of what was and the suffering you had to go through. And now you're mangled, you're broken, you're destroyed. And you went through extreme pain. And you're angry about that. You're angry that you had to go through that. Because it was just so extreme. And it was so painful. So I'm supposed to talk about this. All right, so you're still attached to the wall. because it was so painful and that was so wrong that you had to go through that. So are you right? Was that so wrong? Or was that the next stepping stone that you have to accept in order to get to the next thing? If you can't accept that was part of your path, then you will remain forever attached to that disgusting wall where it ripped part of your face off, right? And now you're creating an offshoot on the path. Instead of learning how to work through coping skills and an understanding of the element of trusting in something bigger than yourself, and how we have to go through very wrong and disturbing experiences. We go through very wrong and disturbing experiences here on earth, okay? We go through those experiences. If we hold on to those experiences, we'll always remain attached to what was very wrong and disturbing. That then creates the offshoot path. And now you can go down that offshoot path of suffering, where that wasn't fair, that wasn't right, where there's anguish and now the dark side of yourself and karma and etc., okay? Or you can say, I needed that. I didn't enjoy it, but I needed that. And I'm going to move on. I'm not going to go down the offshoot because that could be a million lifetimes if you want it. Because you couldn't accept that. Trust me. I know what it's like to be human, and I know what it's like to be in those instances where you are telling your guides and higher self that how dare you? Why? Why is this happening to me? It's the crybaby scenario. Well, you just got your face ripped off and your eyes mangled. Why did this have to happen to me? Oh, wow, you're such a crybaby. Why don't you just keep crying about it? It's kind of annoying, to be honest. The sooner you can stop crying about it, the better. I'm telling you. Don't get attached. And don't even be attached to feeling entitled to being a crybaby because it hurt really bad. Trust me. Okay? It feels like this has happened on your soul path. Is this about this lifetime? Is this about recent events? Is this about past events that we are working through right now in order to heal that offshoot? Because you went down the offshoot because it was really hard. It was really traumatizing stuff. It wasn't right stuff. It jacked you up. It was really hard. Okay? And because there was anger and anguish and the not right going on, and it wasn't fair that had to happen to you, right? Because it feels like that, Now we're still holding on to the event. Now we go through the offshoot of suffering. But it feels like there's a blessing here because we have the capacity to heal this, to bring a kind of an understanding to it, that it's safe. It's safe to just it is what it is, right? And that was actually the stepping stone your soul needed. And it had to be painful because it just had to be. And we can't understand all of these reasons, but it just had to be this way, okay? And let's not go down the path because you already did it. So let's bring all that energy back and let's ascend beyond this, okay? So that you can get to that next step. So everything is always correct. Everything is always part of the balance. So perhaps it was intended for you to get off balance from that in order for the next step to be that path. But they show me there was always the other path where you would trust in a bigger picture no matter how bad that hurt. And that you would be able to move into the next phase. But you didn't, okay? So now we are back at this moment here. And it's time to ascend beyond it, okay? So it does feel like something your soul is familiar with from the journey in an energy space of infinite time. Maybe there's something you're tripping over right now in the current moments that is difficult. And maybe you're stuck to something quite difficult and it's disrupting your ability to see. And that then it becomes the challenge, but it's bringing in a lot of access to old stuff that's ready to be nurtured and revisited, so your soul can decide if you want to hold on to it still or rise above it, okay? but embrace the blindness, because there's always peace here in the dark. So embrace the blindness, okay? It's literally what I aim to tell you to do. Yeah, that's it. You do feel more at peace in your heart. You do feel the higher awareness from the crown chakra. You do feel more of an acceptance that pain is a part of the journey, and that some things are going to have to hurt worse before they feel better, and that sometimes you have to go through that suffering stage, come to peace with it, right? And then ascend above it, ascend beyond it. And then you are a totality. You're a totality of champion. I mean, you're a champion when you do that. I can't blame any soul or any human being who struggles to rise above that kind of suffering, because it is really hard lessons, really, really hard lessons. And we often can feel entitled to feeling confused and disoriented and wronged. And like we can't let go of that, because that was so wronging and so messed up, right? But if you're strong enough, if you're courageous enough, you can find a way to move on, to disconnect, and to rise above it, and to see what comes next, okay? Sometimes finding out what's beyond this is a lot more exciting and adventurous than holding on and continue on the path of suffering. Because you are entitled to living a good life where there's no suffering. All right. You feel better though. You do. You feel vibrationally better in your heart and your crown chakra, and more acceptance here in the face, okay? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this experience. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for being a part of Patreon. For everybody watching, thank you all so much for being a part of this experience. And I hope you all have a very wonderful rest of your day.